Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're diving into a book called The Dissentinel, and let me tell you, this one is a real mind-bender. It puts forward this radical idea that there's a kind of hidden code, an ancient piece of mental software that hasn't just been shaping human history, but it might be running your life right now, at this very moment.
The book kicks off with this incredible question, and really it's the central mystery we're going to try and unravel today. Think about it. That inner voice, the one that pushes you towards duty, towards sacrifice, what if that wasn't some natural part of you? What if it was installed? Yeah, let's dig in.
So, to really get to the heart of this code, the book doesn't start with theory. It starts with a story. It takes us all the way back to the 16th century to meet a knight named Giovanni, a man whose entire life is about to be defined by this very code.
So we meet Giovanni in this unbelievably powerful moment. He's at his ordination, joining a holy order of knights, and as he's taking these solemn vows, his mind isn't on God. It's on a woman named Lucia. The book is so vivid, you can almost smell her rosemary oil, you can see the freckle on her cheek. He's literally being torn in two between the sacred duty he's swearing to and this deep, profound human love that feels every bit as holy.
And in that moment, Giovanni gives up everything. It's not just Lucia. It's his entire identity. See, he was a woodcarver, a creator. She had given him a little wooden sparrow he'd carved, a gift to remember who he truly was. But he makes his choice. He buries that man, that artist, that lover, underneath the black mantle of the order. And that right there is the question that fuels this entire book. This isn't just about some knight from the 1500s. It's about a pattern of sacrifice that you see again and again all through history. Why do we do it? Well, the book has a really compelling and honestly, a kind of disturbing answer.
The book's big idea is that Giovanni isn't just acting on his own free will here. Nope, he's running a program, an ancient piece of mental software that's been quietly installed in humanity for thousands of years.
So this software has a name. It's called the Chivalric Disposition. The easiest way to think of it is like a moral operating system for your brain. And its core programming is all about honor, duty, and sacrifice. The voice it uses to give you commands, the book calls that the Sentinel. You know, that stern inner voice that tells you to do your duty, no matter the personal cost.
This Sentinel's code, it's built on three main pillars. First up is fortitude, just unwavering strength no matter what hardship you face. Then comes deference, absolute, unquestioning loyalty to your order, your company, your cause. And finally, virtue, a super rigid moral code that you never, ever question. For Giovanni, this was the very air he breathed as a knight.
And here's where it gets really interesting, where this ancient code just slams right into our modern lives. The book argues the Sentinel is absolutely still here. It's the voice behind military slogans. It's the engine driving corporate hustle culture. It even shows up in relationships, where one person is convinced that their suffering is somehow noble.
Okay, so just how far back does this thing go? The book makes it pretty clear that the Sentinel isn't some medieval invention, or even a modern one. It's an ancient archetype, and its code, well, it's tragically universal. I mean, look at this timeline. The book traces this figure back for thousands of years. You've got the first guards protecting a king's extra grain back in ancient Mesopotamia. You've got Fra Giovanni, our knight, dying on the walls of Malta. And then you have the modern employee, sacrificing their health and their family time for a company that honestly sees them as totally replaceable. The uniform changes, but the Sentinel is the same.
And this is where the sheer tragedy of this code really hits you. During the siege of Malta, Giovanni faces his ultimate enemy, an Ottoman corsair named Reis Osman. But as the book peels back the layers, you realize they are fundamentally the same man. Giovanni carved little toys for orphans in his spare time. Osman fed stray dogs on the docks. They were both good men, driven by the exact same internal software, just pointed at a different flag.
So the critical point here is that their war wasn't good versus evil, not at all. It was a battle between two identical reflections of the exact same system of values. Two honorable men doomed by duty, forced by this code to destroy one another. They're just tragic echoes in a system that demands their sacrifice.
So if this code is so destructive, where did it come from? I mean, were we always like this? The book gives a pretty firm no. It argues this whole thing was an invention.
According to the Dissentinel, our minds originally evolved with three natural pillars that were perfect for a good, flourishing life. A primal drive to persevere, a deep, deep need for community, and this innate ability to have faith in things we can't see. This was our factory setting, our natural state. But then you get the dawn of civilization. You get new power structures, kings, priests, armies, and they looked at these natural human traits and hijacked them. Our basic will to persevere got warped into this rigid, unthinking fortitude. Our beautiful need for community got twisted into blind deference to authority, and our capacity for faith was contorted into this unquestioning, dogmatic virtue.
And what did this create? This artificial structure, fortitude, deference, and virtue, formed a perfect, rigid prison right inside the human mind. The book has a name for it, the tetrahedron. It's this unnatural geometry forced onto our fluid, natural state, built by the Sentinel to lock us into a cycle of sacrifice.
But here is the key. This is the big reveal. The book makes it clear that this prison, it isn't made of real stone. Its walls are built entirely out of our unquestioning belief. Its power comes from our silent submission. And the second we truly see it for what it is, an artificial construct, the whole thing starts to crumble.
Which brings us to the final, and I think most hopeful part of the book. What happens when that prison finally shatters? What comes after the Sentinel's reign is over?
Out of the wreckage of this tetrahedron, a new character steps forward. His name is Chivalric, and he's described as this farmer-hunter from the dawn of agriculture, a man who existed before the Sentinel's code was ever fully installed. He is literally a voice from our deep past, representing a more natural, more grounded way of being human.
So when the prison of the mind collapses, Shower doesn't see a disaster. He sees an opportunity. For him, breaking the code isn't the end of the world. It's a profound, thrilling new beginning. It's a chance to finally rediscover what humanity was supposed to be all along.
Chivalric's voice embodies the book's alternative to the Sentinel. It's called the Dissentinel. And get this, it's not another rigid code. It's a quieter, more curious voice, one that encourages us to ask some really dangerous questions. Questions like, hey, who actually benefits from my sacrifice? Or, where's the line between being loyal and just betraying myself? And maybe the most important one, do the powerful people demanding all this from me hold themselves to the same standards?
And that is where the Dissentinel leaves us. It's with this final, massive question. The old code is broken. The prison is in ruins. Giovanni's story showed us the heartbreaking cost of obedience, while Chivalric's story points us toward a path to freedom. And the thing is, this question isn't just for them, it's for us. Now that we can see the prison, what do we build in its place? And the answer, the book suggests, is waiting for every single one of us to discover for ourselves.